Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Before we dive in, if you're serious about staying ahead in this once-in-a-lifetime financial shift, make sure you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today's episode might just be the most bullish breakdown I've ever done on XRP. But I'll be honest, after what I uncovered, I couldn't sleep last night. The XRP Shockwave is coming, and if you own even a single coin, this is the kind of information you simply cannot afford to miss. We're talking about adoption. We're talking about liquidity. We're talking about institutional money on a scale that could reshape the financial system forever. This isn't hype. This isn't XRP to the moon nonsense. This is rooted in data, partnership, and the historical patterns of financial revolutions. Let's set the stage with an analogy. Think back to the invention of the steam engine. At first, it was clunky, misunderstood, and ignored by the masses. But once rails laid tracks across continents, commerce and communication exploded. That was the industrial shockwave. Fast forward to the internet in the 1990s. Most people laughed at the idea of buying books online. Fast forward a decade, and Amazon wasn't just selling books, it was reshaping entire industries. That was the digital shockwave. And now XRP stands at the center of the financial shockwave, a moment where money itself, the backbone of every civilization, gets upgraded for speed, scale, and global accessibility. Here's why XRP is positioned unlike anything else. RippleNet plus ODL equals banks first connected using fiat rails. It was training wheels. But the hidden design was always to flip the switch to XRP when markets matured. Liquidity on demand. Institutions don't want to hold dozens of currencies. That's a nightmare. But a single bridge asset, that's efficiency at its best. Tokenization, treasuries, bonds, real estate. These are markets worth hundreds of trillions. And the first real highway for liquidity is being paved right now. Here's the kicker. Once banks and institutions taste faster, cheaper, borderless settlement, there's no going back. It's like the first time someone heard an iPad versus a cassette player. You don't return to the old world. Every financial revolution had a tipping point. The gold standard, 1870s to 1900s. Nations realized trust was better than anchored in gold than paper. The trust reset global trade. Bretton Woods, 1944. The dollar became the world's anchor, reshaping global markets for decades. The Internet Information, 1990s. Data moved globally at the speed of light. Now, we barely remember life before email. XRP is that same kind of inflection point, except this time it's the Internet of value, moving trillions across borders in seconds, not days. And when adoption hits hockey stick levels, you'll remember this moment the way people remembered Netscape or the first iPhone keynote. Here's where the story gets wild. Institutional integration. Ripple has already been integrated with hundreds of banks quietly. Step by step, the foundation is already laid. CBDCs. Central banks aren't reinventing the wheel. Many are testing Ripple's tech behind closed doors. Leadership changes. Just like Satoshi stepping back from Bitcoin, Ripple's decentralization is hitting a new phase. This isn't a risk, it's a bullish signal. Liquidity forecasts. Experts are openly discussing tokenized assets reaching $5 trillion sooner than expected. These aren't YouTube influencers saying this. These are strategy officers from firms that advise governments and banks. Ladies and gentlemen, those are not retail moon boys. Those are the insiders. They're telling us the shockwave is inevitable. Now, I know that what you're thinking. I've heard hype before. Fair. But let's be clear, this isn't about a meme coin or a speculative narrative. This is about a system that solves trillion-dollar problems. Do you think Wall Street cares about Dogecoin? Do you think the IMF is losing sleep over meme coins? No, but XRP is on the radar because it solves real pain points: liquidity, settlement, compliance, scalability. It's like when the Wright brothers launched the first plane. Everyone laughed, but a few years later, government, militaries, corporations were throwing billions at aviation. That's where XRP stands today. We're at the first flight test moment. And once it works, scale adoption is inevitable. So here's the takeaway. XRP Shockwave isn't a maybe, it's a when. The rails are being built. The players are in place. And history tells us that when the revolution hits, they hit fast, they hit hard. If you're watching this, you're already ahead of 99% of the world. The question is, will you act or will you wait until the headlines scream it's too late? Ladies and gentlemen, share this video with your XRP community. And if you want to stay ahead of this shockwave, make sure you're subscribed, because what's coming next could redefine your financial future forever. This opened your eyes. Smash that like button, ring the bell, leave a comment with your thoughts, turn on notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to the Crypto Republic, bringing you the truth about XRP, global banking moves, and the wealth transfer already unfolding. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay in the Republic.